Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take all the information you've sent us, sift through it, and really pull out the key insights for you. Basically, your shortcut to understanding what counts. So today, we're looking into a really interesting conversation between Niệm and Thùy. It's from Vitsadra's YouTube channel.
Right, the one called Bitang Duksi Maji Tapi Minyam Du Minmuk Miro EP1.
Exactly. We've got the transcript, and it basically explores these ideas of being and losing, or maybe having and losing is a better way to put it in English. Vuk vamat.
Yeah, having and losing works. And our goal for you today, listening in, is to really get why this whole dynamic, what we gain versus what we lose, why it feels so significant right now.
And also how we can get better at, noticing and really valuing what we already have.
Exactly, appreciating it.
So the conversation of the transcript kicks off with this pretty powerful question.
Yeah.
Why is this matter of gaining and losing so important right now at this specific time?
Okay, yeah.
Let's try and unpack that. What were your first thoughts on why this ukvamet, having and losing, feels so relevant today?
Well, I think the first thing that really hits you is just how basic this link is between, happiness and suffering, and how both are tied up in gaining and losing things.
Right. It's natural. You get something, you feel good. You lose something, it hurts.
Totally. But the source points out something interesting early on that lots of people today, they have so many conditions for happiness. Comfort, money, friends.
All the things.
All the things, yeah. And yet they're still unhappy, which kind of shows how easily that good feeling, that sense of well-being can just poof, vanish.
Like it's slippery. And the thought of waking up and suddenly facing like multiple losses at once, that's heavy.
It really is. And, it leads straight into this idea of impermanence, doesn't it? That even the tough stuff, the feeling of loss, it's not prominent.
Right. The transcript says those feelings will eventually fade, which is, well, it's a helpful way to look at it. Whatever you're going through now, it's part of the flow, not the whole story.
And the expert in the conversation adds this interesting layer. If we don't experience some suffering, some loss now and then the happiness we do have just kind of slips away quietly. We don't even notice it.
Like you need the contrast?
Kind of. It speaks to how life, our emotions, they're always shifting,
Okay, so this is where it gets really fascinating for me. The conversation shifts to how access to stimulation has changed, like drastically, and how that impacts how we see gaining and losing.
Oh, yeah. The contrast is huge. Older generations maybe waiting months for a magazine, a few TV channels.
Limited option.
Very limited compared to us now. Internet, phones, TikTok, just this constant flood of stuff.
It's nonstop.
And a really key point the expert makes is that all this external stimulation, it might actually pull our focus away from our inner world, our actual emotions.
Right. And the source suggests this could be part of why we see more psychological distress now.
It makes sense. Think about it, less outside noise back then probably meant people had to, connect more deeply with each other for that emotional hit.
Yeah, definitely. I loved the examples in the transcript. The simple joys like guessing cars, sharing burnt rice.
Savoring the last drop of ice cream.
Exactly. It paints this picture where having less actually meant being more present, appreciating those small good moments more deeply.
We'd really look forward to things like a family gathering and just be in it, fully immersed.
So how does having all this easy stimulation now mess with our appreciation for what we have?
Well, the expert's take is that the online world, yeah, it's super engaging, but it's also fleeting, transient. Our brains don't always get a chance to clock that it's temporary.
Right, and this constant kind of shallow stimulation can actually lead to feeling bored.
Yeah.
And make it harder to really enjoy, actual real-life stuff.
The example they give is perfect being with friends, but everyone's half checking their phones.
Guilty as charged sometimes.
We all are. But you're missing the duk, right? The gain of connection because you're chasing another online, that quick hit.
And the transcript argues that this overload makes it hard to even remember and value the good feelings, the good experiences we do have.
Which hinders developing character, finding real satisfaction. There's that quote, when everything becomes easy, the appreciation will decrease.
Wow. Yeah.
So if you don't notice and kind of nurture what you have, it's gone, lost.
And it also touches on how that drive for the next thing, wanting more, can just totally blind you to any happiness you might have right now.
Exactly. Driven by greed sometimes, or just ambition.
So how do we actually do that? How do we cultivate this knowing what one has, this dangdoki dukji, being aware of the good stuff now?
The transcript uses this really nice story about getting your first, like, really beloved book, how that memory sticks.
Compared to now, where you might flick through books on a Kindle and discard them if they don't grab you instantly.
Right. So many options. It sets up this idea of consciously stopping and acknowledging, okay, this is good. I have this right now.
Which, let's be honest, isn't easy. It's not like a switch you flip on permanently.
No,
Yeah.
definitely not. It comes and goes. Then they talk about bucket lists and how you, the listener, seem proactive about goals.
Yeah.
But what happens after you tick off those big, long-term goals? Sometimes there's this feeling of, what now? Almost disorientation. Or just being overwhelmed by choices.
I can see that. Like
Oh,
the
yeah.
chase is over, now what?
And the source brings up this tricky point. How do you know what really matters? Is it hitting those goals you planned out, or is it how you feel in the moment, even if those feelings change?
Which framework do you use? Yeah, that's tough.
The expert even guesses that maybe you, the listener, tend to jump straight to the next goal rather than really soaking in the achievement.
Possibly. It's a common trap, isn't it? That push for progress versus just enjoying the win.
It really is. The expert mentions feeling that pull themselves. I like the analogy they used. Our knowledge is limited, but our imagination, endless. Always dreaming up something more.
Right.
But the core message is, you gotta appreciate the everyday stuff, the conditions of happiness, while you're reaching for the bigger goals. Otherwise, you always feel like something's missing.
Like that example of finally getting the thing you wanted for ages.
Yeah.
And the buzz fades super quick.
Yeah, because while you're so focused on that one thing, you maybe ignored all the other good stuff you had. Sometimes even feeling like your whole worth depended on getting that one goal.
Which brings us to that story about the horse and the greener grass. Can you unpack that one a bit more? How does it relate to always chasing something better?
Oh, it's such a great little story. The horse wears itself out climbing this hill for supposedly better grass,
Right.
only to get back and realize, the grass here was actually fine, but it only saw that when the wanting, the desire finally calmed down.
And that's us, isn't it? We often don't appreciate the basics. Health, being able to walk, see, hear, until they're threatened. Like when you get sick.
Exactly. You don't know what you've got till it's gone, like you said. And the transcript really stresses how being stuck in the future, planning, pulls you out of now.
You miss what's actually happening. The value in this moment.
So the advice is balance, right? Keep your dreams, your plans, but also consciously tune in to the present. Appreciate it.
Like noticing your kid playing, or just feeling grateful for your own health, your own inner resources.
Yeah, those profound little moments. And actively list in what you have instead of focusing on the lack. That seems key.
I like the fear of flying analogy too. Learning to be okay, even present, when you literally can't control the situation. Just appreciating, okay, I'm on the plane, it's flying.
Exactly. Acceptance. But okay, what about those times when you wake up and things feel genuinely bad, like you have lost something significant? How does this apply then?
That's the hard part, isn't it?
It is. And the advice isn't just be positive, it's more. Don't get totally stuck spinning on the problems you can't solve right now. Gently try to shift focus to what you still have.
Remembering that impermanence thing again, that even intense pain won't last forever.
Right. The expert shares their own experience with grief fading over time. It's about living for yourself, your own future, even after a loss. Those crushing emotions do lessen.
But it's tough in the moment. The transcript acknowledges you can't just force positivity right after a loss.
No, definitely not. You need to let that first wave hit and recede a bit. Then gently you can start reminding yourself or someone else about what's still there. Relationships, resources, future possibilities, your health.
And it mentions it's especially tricky with depression, where people can get really fixated on the negative.
Yes, that's where things like mindful walking, meditation, just focusing on your senses, bringing you back to the present can be so helpful. Therapeutic tools.
I loved that image of the child totally absorbed in a melting popsicle. That Bitunkit, that pure knowing.
Yeah, and how we kind of lose that as adults. Reconnecting with that pure awareness seems central to finding happiness, even when things outside are challenging.
Like negative feelings create a fog, hiding the good stuff that's still there.
Exactly. And then there's that waking up moment when you suddenly see clearly again, wow, I still have all this. External stuff is only part of it. That inner state of knowing, of awareness, is crucial.
And that leads to the idea of me delusion. being stuck on what's gone or what you don't have yet.
Right, blinding you to the present good, like that kid asking, is the food yummy? Just bringing you right back to the immediate experience.
It's a shame we're not really taught how to cultivate that awareness, is it?
Totally. Which brings us to contentment. Hai Long, being okay, satisfied with what you have now.
Drawing on Rich Hanson's levels.
Yeah.
Contentment, peace, sharing.
Focusing on contentment here. And it requires awareness of that and consciously like listing your blessings, valuing this moment, this experience, because it might not come again.
And it's important to clarify, especially for younger people maybe, that contentment isn't about being lazy or giving up.
No, not at all. It's about acknowledging your wins, letting yourself actually enjoy them before you jump to the next mountain.
Like the Buddha quote, there is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way.
Yeah,
It's in the journey.
precisely. With that inner awareness that be it in 10, suddenly everything around you can be a source of happiness. A miracle, some philosophers call it.
Simple ideas, but deep. And the transcript admits, hey, getting this takes time. Lifelong learning.
Absolutely. It's normal if it doesn't click right away. Society doesn't really teach this stuff, and our survival brain is strong.
But we have those deeper needs too, right? Peace, love, freedom,
Yeah,
beyond just surviving.
we do. And often it's life's bumps, the ups and downs that push us to want to understand more, especially about ourselves. Mastering yourself leads to more happiness. The journey of knowing is the big one.
So that naturally leads to the next question they tackle. Do we need to know what we're losing?
Yeah, what about focusing on the mutt? Well, the point made is that we usually know when we gain something pretty quickly.
And loss. You feel that immediately too, right? It's
Right.
hard to hide suffering.
Much harder than hiding joy, usually. Though some deep people might not show joy outwardly as much, but loss. Loss tends to feel more intense, more consuming.
Why is that?
Because we're kind of wired to want to gain, not lose. But life has changed, so only wanting gain, it's just not realistic.
We're often unprepared for loss, even though it happens all the time.
Exactly. And big losses, sudden ones, they can just floor you. The expert mentions their own experiences, helping others. It takes real effort, sometimes support, to pull back to reality.
Because if you only focus on the loss, it's like a delusion of the mind. It hides any happiness that's still there.
Right. And your perspective from the inside is so different than someone looking in. Some people, sadly, even seem to cling to the suffering. Use it almost.
Like that parable of the merchant mourning his lost son so much he wouldn't even open the door when his son actually came back. Wrong perception.
Such a powerful story, believing so strongly in the loss that you miss the present reality. But the flip side is, getting through loss often brings huge growth, new perspectives.
Because our understanding is limited anyway, our view isn't always accurate.
Exactly. And how we see gain is shaped by our mindset, society. Same for man, loss. Its impact isn't fixed.
Which is kind of hopeful, actually. It means we can change how we react, how we receive life.
Totally. Like the example of betrayal. Maybe the first time it's devastating, but after a few experiences, your understanding shifts, your expectations change. The loss might still hurt, but maybe less intensely.
Because emotions are tied to understanding, wisdom.
Yeah, which grows with experience, with learning. Deeper understanding often means more balanced emotions, less dependent on things going perfectly. So loss, it's also about perspective, and that changes through life.
Okay, so managing expectations around games seems key. What was that advice the expert shared?
It was great advice. Don't push anything too high so that when it goes down, it doesn't go down too deep.
Simple, but yeah, profound. Don't overinflate the good stuff.
Because if you do, the fall hurts more when you lose it. Value what you have, definitely, but try not to make it like the only thing keeping you afloat. That helps you cope when things change.
And the hosts, drawing on their experience helping people, they know suffering is temporary, even if the person in it can't see that yet.
Right. And you have to be careful not to sound dismissive, like calling their pain a gift. That's rarely helpful.
No. Better to just encourage belief and impermanence and in their own strength.
And gently, gently shift focus. Away from the loss, towards the present oak. Simple things, breathing, birds singing, a cup of tea.
That conscious awareness again, it's powerful.
And having compassion, community, people around you helping you wake up to the present good that still exists. You can't take the pain away, but you can help them see the conditions for happiness that are still there.
There's that feeling of release, too, when you finally realize you've made it through something awful.
Oh, absolutely. The expert talks about their own deep depression and how afterwards, just sunlight, walking, breathing felt incredible. profoundly appreciate it.
And it was birdsong that started that shift.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
A tiny spark. But it shows how deep suffering can lead to this incredible valuing of life, a completely different way of living.
Which brings us maybe to the pandemic. Lessons learned there.
Yeah, that collective experience. Lockdown, fear, everything being uncertain. The experts shared a poem they wrote.
About appreciating the simple things we suddenly couldn't do. Laughter, walking outside, warmth, connection.
Exactly. And the poem ends by saying, basically, without hardship, you can't really appreciate how precious and fleeting happiness is.
Wow. So the expert feels the pandemic, despite the trauma, might have deepened our understanding of life.
They seem to think so for many people, and you see hints of it, right? People wanting to slow down, stay home more, value family time.
Yeah, those shifts in priorities.
And maybe younger generations are quicker to recognize the impact and seek help, compared to older ones who might process trauma more slowly. But the core idea is loss, pain, challenges. They can make you stronger, more resilient, patient, tolerant.
Often life's toughest lessons are the best teachers,
Mm-hmm.
leading to new ways of seeing, new ways of being.
Exactly. Transformed living.
Okay, so wrapping up this part of the deep dive, the big theme seemed to be this ability to know and the power of the present moment. Right?
Absolutely. And how Aguk and Mutt, gaining and losing, are just constantly interacting. It's this intricate dance.
And you mentioned there's more to explore from this conversation in our next session.
Yes. Next time, we'll dig into that tricky bit, the transition after loss, letting go, embracing the new, that really vulnerable phase of growth.
Looking forward to that. Expert speaker, thank you. That was incredibly insightful. And for you listening, maybe a little exercise from all this. Just take a few moments today, maybe tomorrow, and consciously think, what do I actually have right now? And am I really appreciating it? Am I present with it?
And maybe ask, are the things I'm chasing so hard? Are they truly worth all this time, this energy, this life I'm pouring in?
Could you let go of something less important to make space to just be here and appreciate the now?
Remember, you're already on the path to happiness. You're not starting from zero, from a place of lack.
Yeah. Loss hurts. Acknowledge that, but try not to let it swallow you whole. It's temporary. You're bigger than it.
And try returning to the good stuff first, the news, before tackling the challenges. But nui, build up that strength from appreciating what's right.
And trust that growth does come after hardship. It's part of building real, lasting happiness.
Maybe even try writing it down, like the expert suggested. List what you have. It sounds simple, but it can really shift your perspective, help you see the abundance.
I know getting back into journaling myself has made a difference. It helps make it concrete. Okay, really looking forward to the next deep dive. Thanks everyone for tuning in.